Hello everyone, Legend Begins here with another episode of Game Legend. And this time we'll be reading Cease to Be, a Paper Mario Creepypasta. Ever had that one game that you adored growing up? A game that you love still, even after it wore down due to new games? I have, and I bet all of you have had games like this too. A game that happened to be Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64. Let me give you a brief overview of what this game is before I go into the story. Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64 was the first and my personal favorite of video games. Unlike most other games starring our fat Italian hero, this is an RPG. Obviously not the first Mario RPG, but it's set apart from the other Mario RPGs in the sense that it's made of paper, visually. The game is known for its lighthearted humor and simple yet dark storyline, which balances the overly childish feel with a sense of, hey, this is serious. And my response to that is, yes. Anyway, I'll start with the story. It was roughly only 3 or 4 months ago when life was getting tough for me and my family. With divorced parents and a brother who dislikes me, things got stressful easily for me. What helped me through stressful times, though, was to look back on my past and play video games from my childhood. One night, I was sleepier than I've ever been before in my life, yet I couldn't get it to sleep for the life of me. Stressed out due to a fight with my brother, I couldn't shut my eyelids, so there I was on my computer one day, browsing the interwebs for the lulz. Also didn't help that I lived next to a busy road with cars roaring every few minutes. As I grew more tired, I realized I needed to rest, but I had one last thing to do before I went to sleep. I logged onto my email address at 3 a.m. in the morning. 3 new messages. Great. Opening my inbox, I really wondered who could be mailing at me at this hour. First 2 messages weren't important at all, just junk alerts from websites I haven't used in years, though the third caught my eye. From my father, who lived on the other side of Canada. He had told me he was sending me a Christmas gift the next day. At that moment, I was pretty eager, and I knew I needed some rest now. I closed up everything I had, shut off my computer, and went to bed, waiting tomorrow. I was already halfway down the stairs before I realized that today was Christmas Day that morning, and my face was eager. My brother was fast asleep, and same with my mother, which was disappointing, but whatever. I knew the gift would get here today, and since my family was asleep, it wouldn't be under the tree. I made my way to the porch happily and opened the front door to my house, opening the crappy mailbox next to my wall. And I felt a parcel. I snatched it out eagerly and looked at it. Written in red pen ink was, "From Dad. You're welcome." I rushed inside, hoping it was something great. Inside was a wrapped gift and a card. I opened the card slowly and read it, and it stated this. "Hey, my young man, I know this gift means a lot to you. You used to own it before. Bought it at the new game store in the city. Enjoy. Lots of love. Dad." This got me even more excited as I tugged out the wrapped gift, which was in the shape of a square with a curve. I unwrapped it swiftly and noticed that it was a Nintendo 64 cartridge. I flipped it over to the title and felt a wave of nostalgia hit me like a truck. Paper Mario, one of the greatest games of all time. I was a bit confused that the game itself wasn't in the original box. I couldn't wait, so I took off downstairs into the basement where my old TV and old, rarely used Nintendo 64 lay in wait for this day. I slammed the cartridge in, turned on the TV, grabbed my controller, and slid a chair. I was in for one great adventure. The Nintendo 64 started fairly enough. It glitched out a tiny bit for the first few seconds of startup, but it was understandable. I haven't used it in years. The titles of the developers showed up one by one, and the title screen popped up with the catchy, upbeat, innocent music that defined this game. I sat there for a bit, listening to the music, and the little title sequence of game footage played like you see most games. Seemed intact enough, I guess. I clicked start, and the game seemed a slight bit choppy, although it was transitioning from the title screen to the save screen. But I again dismissed it, for it being the lack of time I used the console. What struck me as odd was that out of the 4 save files, one of them was used. It was named Beta Test. I wasn't as surprised, though. I was prepared to face the fact that this was a used copy of the game, considering that it wasn't one in the original box that you get in stores, though the name of the save file struck me as odd. Was this a beta of the game? I didn't know, but oh well. It also struck me odd that unlike other files, The used one only said the name of the file, not the progress time or anything. I didn't delete it though. I didn't play it at first. I created my own save file and named it something witty. Bananas. Yeah, witty sarcasm. The game started as usual. Paracarry delivering the mail to Mario and Luigi's house. Luigi fetching the mail, bringing it into the house, and talking to Mario. Right then, a speech bubble should have appeared with a few lines of dialogue, but it didn't. Luigi's just stood there oddly with the letter in his hand. I had full control of Mario, oddly enough as well. You couldn't get control of them until you get into Peach's castle. Oh well, it was probably just a bug. But why not explore? I mean, this shouldn't happen in the game. I walked Mario toward the exit of his house. A text bubble popped up. Locked. That was odd itself. Locked, even though the door didn't have a lock on it and this was just a bugged area. Why would a developer put a lock on an unintentional bug? Not sure what to do, I walked up to Luigi and tried to interact with him. Upon clicking the A button, Mario fell to the ground. Dead. Not gory, just the usual game over animation. The game over music. I pressed to continue and randomly appeared in the clearing near Goomba Village. Oh, alright, that was odd. Maybe the game will resume to normal from here on out. Don't know. So I walked to my right and went towards Goomba Village. When I entered the village, no music played and the area seemed empty. Nobody, none of the friendly Goomba family. The houses were still there. I entered the Toad's house confused. The Toad was there, though the Toad seemed to be in the corner, using an animation that seemed to be cowering, but in the same way that matched the game's atmosphere. Odd, was this a hacked version? Or was this truly the beta? I went to talk with the Toad and got a response. Existence. What was that even supposed to mean? I clicked the A button again, trying to talk. Existence. I clicked A again. This time I couldn't even interact with Toad. I was becoming confused. I was able to interact with the bed in the room, but I wasn't sure if I should do that. I was at full health after all. I went towards the door and tried to exit, and a speech bubble from Toad popped. Locked together. The door will not budge. Please end this. The door didn't open. I walked towards the Toad again, and it said, end the game. Turn it off. I tried to talk many times again and got the same response. ... I gave up and noticed that the bed was interactable. I clicked A. Right now, I wasn't that scared. More confused, really. It seems like it was a hacked, darker game, but nothing more. When I clicked A to interact with the bed, I got a game over, but instead of the typical game over screen, got a text bubble. Cease to be. Game over. If you're reading this, wake up. Please wake up and see what you have done. Please show me that you are better than this. Wake up. The bubble started to fade away, and after 10 seconds of blackness, another bubble appeared. Don't wake up! Don't wake up! Don't wake up! Awaken or cease to be. Don't wake up, I beg of you. That finally got to me. Freaky. I dismissed it as a hack though, and whoever created this was one screwed up individual. I sat there for at least 2 minutes and realized that the last text bubble won't disappear. I turned off and on my Nintendo 64 and the title screen was silent and different. It said this, cease to be, the picture of what looked like a bed underneath the title. I started getting nervous and went into the save file selection. My save file, Bananas, was renamed to Rest in Peace. The third save file was named UR, and the fourth was named Era Oi. I was getting nervous. These profiles weren't what I used when I created Bananas. I tried to enter these two save files and got the message. There was trouble loading the save. I was getting sweaty. This wasn't right at all. I only had one option because I was afraid of what would be in Rest in Peace. I wanted to beta test. And that I did. I entered and immediately got put into the Forever Forest. Though it didn't seem right. No music at all, and heard the crackling of fire in the game, though saw no flames. The sound of crackling fire was really the first thing I noticed. And it overpowered my ears. There was also a hint of static in the noise, too, making the sound seem like a cluster of loud, ear-deafening madness. Mario was partnerless in the forest as I tried to walk him about, though he seemed to be moving on his own as if I were in a cinematic. Mario appeared normal enough, and the world seemed normal except a lack of enemies, and there was a bit of static every now and then covering the screen. With each area that was different than Mario entered, a chat bubble appeared. In the first area he went to, the chat bubble said, "No." The second said, "Cursed." The third said, "You've doomed yourself." The fourth, "Why did you kill us all?" It kept on saying dark, harsh, and unclear things until Mario finally entered Toad Town, where the static noise and fiery crackling was louder than ever. It was on fire, though nothing appeared to be there except for one person, Princess Peach, standing there alive. Mario uncontrollably walked up to her, and disturbingly enough, she lacked a face. In the midst of the flames dancing around, Mario seemed entranced as he walked up into the embrace of faceless Peach, and static appeared as nearly clear. It slowly began to solidify into whiteness. Before the game became unwatchable, I noticed one thing. Mario's face, too, disappeared. In the exact second before the entire screen was lost to static, the words "Cease to Be" appeared, as well as what appeared to be Princess Peach and Mario dead below the words "Faceless." There was no blood or gore. It just seemed to be two faceless bodies, Mario and Peach, below the words. The crackling of flames disappeared into static, and the screen disappeared to static. In shock, I threw my controller and broke my TV screen. This wasn't a hacked game. This was hell. It had to be. This was hell. To this day, I still do not understand what it meant by saying, "Cease to be."
Yeah, that was an alright creepypasta. It was a little bit cliche in some points, but it didn't do it too terribly. So, I would probably give that, I want to say, a 7 out of 10 maybe. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. So, it's up to you guys, and leave in the comments what you would give this creepypasta. And make sure you leave a rating on the video itself, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my creepypastas and gameplays that I do. So, just to keep that in mind, and remember, it's just a legend, right? A game legend.